mental health crisis in the United States is growing because we're so disconnected from each other.
Mental illness in Utah teens is on the rise, and doctors say connecting is key to solving the problem.
Apparently, Mother Nature skipped over fall this year because we are already seeing signs of old man winter.
U.S. Senate candidates Mitt Romney and Jenny Wilson face off in their final debate before voting begins. Welcome to Newsline. It's Monday, October 10th. I'm Cristina Bolaños.
And I'm Simeon Toronto. The two candidates looking to replace outgoing U.S. Senator Orrin Hatch faced off in a debate at Southern Utah University. Newsline reporter Michaela Hewerdine joins us now. Michaela, how long did the debate last?
Democratic candidate Jenny Wilson and Republican candidate Mitt Romney went back and forth for about an hour. This was their last debate before the voting begins.
At the same time, we have different governing philosophies. And I'm a conservative, I'm a Republican, and I believe that we should have smaller government.
I'll be honest, I've heard on some doorsteps that we need to break up the old boys club known as the U.S. Senate.
Jenny Wilson and Mitt Romney met for their only debate before the election. The candidates discussed matters like strengthening gun laws, tax reforms, illegal immigration, and health care. They both shared their platforms and ideas about Utah.
Send them back to the state, because I'm convinced that states know better how to care for their people than the federal government does.
And I think to change Washington, we're going to need a new generation of leaders.
Around 80 students at BYU watched the debates at a watch party sponsored by the Political Affairs Society. The students felt it was important for them to hear the candidates speak about the issues.
I'm myself more liberal, so I'm more on the side of Jenny Wilson. Honestly, I'm more interested in what the candidates actually have to say rather than just voting down the party lines.
I think a lot of the big issues were between federalism and the state government, and on trying to find the balance of where they want to land on the policies and where they should be decided.
BYU PAS have a Q&A session with their professors after the debate, asking questions that are most important to them.
All of the polls are showing Republican candidate Mitt Romney pulling ahead with enough room to be comfortable.
The state of the race, which is not particularly likely to be close.
In order to vote online or in person, you need at least 7 days before the election. Sending it by mail is 30 days before. Back to you.
Thank you, Michaela. The candidates for Utah County Attorney participated in a debate at Utah Valley University. The candidates, Republican David Leavitt and Libertarian Andrew McCullough, sparred on several issues yesterday. They debated about hot topic issues in Utah, including marijuana and the overpopulation of jails. The American Civil Liberties Union of Utah and the ABU Education Fund hosted the event ahead of elections to encourage people to get to know the candidates.
Utah is facing one of its driest years yet, but the early raining weather could be the state's silver lining. Newsline reporter Katie Karras is in Provo. Katie, what does this weather mean for Utah's future?
This rainy and cold weather might be a bummer for some, but without it, Utah's water levels are in serious danger. Rain, rain, go away. Come again another day.
I don't really enjoy the cold, except I realize snow is coming, and I'm like, oh, not prepared for that. Yep.
But after Utah's driest summer in nearly 8 years, we need it to stay.
Weather, I feel like it just does what it wants to do.
According to the National Integrated Drought Information System, nearly 40% of Utah is in extreme drought, and another 40% in severe drought.
So I think, Utahns should be worried about the water supply. I think we just take it for granted.
But it's not just rain we need, it's snow. Utah's snowpack is crucial for water levels.
There is some carryover from year to year, so if you have a really dry year like that, then the reservoirs don't get as full, the aquifers don't get as much water recharging them, and so there usually is some lag from year to year.
A drought means reduced groundwater, and decreased groundwater directly impacts rivers and lakes. But it's not just a reason to hit the slopes or hop into the boat, it's a necessity, with groundwater contributing more than 50% of stream flow across the state and 70% used for public supply.
And we use it for drinking water, agriculture, industrial uses, so it's extremely important in Utah.
Across the United States, Utah is number 2 for the driest state year-round, with the 3rd driest summer and 10th driest winter.
I mean, it doesn't take too many dry years in a row before you can start having problems.
And I remember last winter was there was barely any winter, so I feel like Mother Nature has to take her revenge somehow.
Not revenge, but a blessing in disguise.
Thank you, Katie. Looking at this map, we see the rain totals with inches to my left. These rain totals luckily aren't too crazy. We're still staying in the 0.5 to 1 inch rain. In looking at our rain totals, in Salt Lake we have about 1.2 inches of rain, and in Provo we have 1.09 inches. In Ogden we have 1.2 inches, and in Logan we have 0.33 inches, and in Tooele 0.38.
Interstate 80 is still shut down after a fiery crash early this morning. The crash happened around 4 o'clock this morning. Utah Highway Patrol says a semi-truck crashed and then burst into flames. The driver and the passenger were injured in the crash. They were ejected from the semi and taken to the hospital. Firefighters struggled to access the trailer, which was engulfed in flames. No word on when the freeway will be reopened.
The Utah County Sheriff says the body of hiker who went missing 3 weeks ago has been found in Provo Canyon. Investigators say an official ID test needs to be done on the body, but they believe it is the body of 36-year-old Jake Rout, who has not been seen since September 15th. The body was found in some thick brush above Aspen Grove in Provo Canyon. The cause of death has still not been determined.
Millions of Americans suffer from mental illnesses each year. Last night, a workshop was held at Utah Valley Hospital to raise awareness of mental illnesses. Newsline reporter Carmen Codia attended the workshop. Carmen, what do they talk about?
Depression, anxiety, and stress were only a few topics discussed here at the Mental Health Awareness Night at Utah Valley Hospital. Bishops, therapists, and other community leaders gathered to learn more about an issue many people are afraid to talk about: mental health. More than 300 representatives listened and took notes on what they can do to decrease the mental illness rate in Utah. Keynote speaker Jonathan Sandberg says the big issue young adults are facing is isolation. He stressed that phones are becoming a major factor of what can trigger anxiety and depression.
There's a mental health crisis in the United States that's growing because we're so disconnected from each other. We need to find ways to connect in meaningful and in deep ways so we don't feel so isolated and lonely.
For the 10th year, 40 local mental health agencies prepared their booths with flyers and information about their services and resources. United Way President Bill Holterstrom presented a new app called 211 Utah that he said could be one solution on decreasing the stigma.
We can do something about this issue. We can download a copy of the 211 app. With 211 Utah, there's an app that has all the resources in the community that we all can use to address mental health and other issues.
Statistics that were shared outline that there has been a 50% increase of depression among girls and 21% increase among boys in Utah. Leaders at the workshop agree that to prevent mental illnesses, people need to have more conversations about the topic. According to Sandberg, many youths are trying to be perfect, which brings them a lot of anxiety.
For people that are disconnected to the point of really struggling with their mental health, we can help give referrals, we can help them find resources, we can attend classes with them, but we've got to work on this issue together.
The stigma of mental illnesses is still powerful, and mental health agencies are urging people to not be afraid to reach out. If you are suffering from a mental illness, please visit www.intermountainhealthcare.org. Back at you.
Thanks, Carmen. Senator Mike Lee will host an event in hopes of solving the opioid crisis. The 5th Annual Utah Solutions Summit will take place on October 12th at Vivint Smart Home Arena. It will focus on creating better and more effective options to help those affected by the opioid crisis. According to the National Institute on Drug Abuse, Utah's opioid-related overdose death rate and its opioid prescription rate are above the national average. Speakers at the event include Attorney General Sean Reyes and Governor Gary Herbert.
President of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints Russell M. Nelson and his wife Wendy will begin a ministry tour in South America. The tour is expected to last for 9 days starting October 19th. Elder Gary E. Stevensons of the Quorum of the 12 Apostles and his wife Lisa will also accompany the president. The leaders will meet with Latter-day Saints in 5 countries. Their tour will end with the dedication of the Concepcion Chile Temple.
Everything is bigger in Texas, including the love of football.
The next few minutes we kept asking them to leave, and then they started their own punches. So we called the police.
A football brawl breaks out when fans of opposing teams eat dinner at the same restaurant, and it's all caught on video. We'll show you more.
A Saudi journalist goes missing after entering the Saudi Arabia consulate. We'll tell you how officials are trying to solve this mystery.
I don't remember how it started.
Go to that.
Our back and forth. It always came back.
Dad!
You probably don't remember what you told me,
That was perfect.
but I heard every word.
What's Beethoven's favorite fruit?
Banana. How does a tissue dance? Put a little boogie on it. Hey, Bobo, do trees tell each other stories?
I'm sorry. I'm afraid I don't know that.
Hey, why don't we go find out? Listen.
They call me Maxie, but I prefer tripod. I was your above-average four-legged homie, and then wham, bam, minivan. Some people pity me. Now that's lame. I still run, fetch, and swim. And the ladies love me. I'm the ultimate wingman. Just don't ask me to high five.
Chinese Uyghur Muslims are in detention and internment camps today. China has written a new law that was written with a wider campaign against Islamic practices across the Chinese region of Xinjiang. The United Nations estimates that as many as 1 million Uyghurs and other Muslim minorities are being held in these camps. Although China denied allegations that 1 million people are being held, the camps themselves have been officially legalized due to the new written law.
Saudi journalist Jamal Khashoggi, who went missing after entering the Saudi Arabian consulate, is feared to be dead. New video shows the journalist entering the consulate on October 2nd, but he never re-emerges. The Saudi government insists that Khashoggi left the consulate, but Turkish officials say that they believe he was killed and dismembered.
At least 50 people, including 7 children, are dead after a bus crash in Kenya today. Police say the driver lost control while going down a steep slope. The president of Kenya posted a message on his Twitter page offering heartfelt condolences to the families. Several people were also injured in the crash. The Red Cross say those people were taken to local hospitals.
Texans from Dallas and Houston do not mix when it comes to football. Look at this. A full-on brawl broke out at a local chicken wing restaurant in Baytown, Texas between Cowboy fans and Texas fans. The fight broke out during the NFL game between the Dallas Cowboys and Houston Texans. The fight led to 7 people getting arrested as well as banned from the restaurant forever.
Brett Kavanaugh sees his first major case on his second day on the bench. We'll tell you what the case is about and how many people it could affect.
Hurricane Michael is increasing in intensity and considered extremely dangerous. We'll tell you what officials are advising for so many residents close to the storm.
Is this mountain snow usual for October? Coming up next.
See on page 4 that the projections need to be earthquake. Next Thursday?
Seriously? Thursday? Can't do that.
This is really inconvenient.
I have yoga that day. I have no time for this. So.
I can't do Thursday, but I can do Friday.
Disasters don't plan ahead. You can. Talk to your loved ones about how you're going to be ready in an emergency. Don't wait. Communicate.
Planning the right amount of food is hard. The Guestimator makes it easy. Just tell it who's coming and what's for dinner. Then it tells you how much to make. And yes, it even plans for leftovers. Try it at SaveTheFood.com.
When they test you, stand firm and move only when you hear the seatbelt click that says they're buckled in for the drive. Never give up till they buckle up.
Even if I
The Supreme Court is considering an immigration case that could affect millions of immigrants. The case Nielsen versus Prep involves a federal law that allows immigration officials to detain immigrants for minor offenses committed in the past, even after they have already served their sentences. This case comes on new Supreme Court Justice Brett Kavanaugh's second day on the bench.
Every American can be assured that I will be an independent and impartial justice, devoted to equal justice under law.
This is Kavanaugh's first major case on the Supreme Court. Kavanaugh takes on the place of the more moderate Justice Anthony Kennedy, giving the court a reliable conservative majority. The Trump nominee has a history of supporting a hardline stance on the immigration from the bench.
The National Weather Service says Hurricane Michael is an extremely dangerous Category 4 storm, and Florida officials are saying it's now time to hunker down. Omar Jimenez is in Panama City, Florida, with the latest.
This is the worst storm that the Florida Panhandle has seen in more than 100 years.
The National Hurricane Center is calling Hurricane Michael an incredibly dangerous storm, and officials say the time to evacuate has passed.
You've made your decision. It's time to hunker down and ride out this storm.
With maximum sustained winds already over 145 miles per hour and a forecasted storm surge as high as 14 feet in some places, Michael's impact will be devastating.
So half the fatalities in these tropical systems occur with the storm surge.
The storm is expected to make landfall near Panama City this afternoon, dumping up to a foot of rain before it blows over Georgia and the Carolinas, still recovering from last month's Hurricane Florence.
I know people are fatigued from Florence, but don't let this storm catch you with your guard down.
And despite warnings from officials, some people are staying to ride out the storm.
Never been through a hurricane before, heard lots about it, watched them on television. We'd stay and see it out.
My daughters want me to go, and I'm like, no, stay, it'll be fine.
In Panama City, I'm Omar Jimenez.
Good afternoon. Here we see quite a bit of snowfall up in the mountains. This is Snowbird Hidden Peak. That shows the snow coming in. Our other shot is the Alta Cam, and we know that there was recorded 13 inches from Brighton Ski Resort, and Alta Ski Resort recorded 14 inches over the past 12 hours. In the valley, average snowfall for October is about a few 0.8 inches for Provo, 1.4 inches for Salt Lake, and Logan gets about 1.9 inches. Our current weather right now is 47 degrees with tons of rain and even hail, which is pretty exciting, and hopefully you brought your umbrella today. Our highs are cooling down with this rain. We have about 50 degrees in Provo. St. George is still warmer with a nice, comfortable 68 degrees, and up in Logan it's 46 degrees, which was our average lows. Now the highs. Looking at our lows, we have 39 degrees in Provo, and it'll just keep dropping. Down in St. George, we have 53 degrees, and up in Salt Lake, 41 degrees. Also in St. George, we're looking at pretty comfortable weather. We have 75 on Saturday, which will be nice if you want to do a weekend getaway. And then our lows are dropping down into the 40s. For our northern forecast, we are looking at about mid-50s this week. It will get a little bit sunny toward the weekend, which will be nice, but the temperature will still feel cold. And our lows are in the low 30s, even 29 on Sunday.
BYU Homecoming Week has begun. The week-long celebration started yesterday with the opening ceremony and the annual hike in Light the Y.
Newsline reporter Hayden Wallace braved the cold to join the students.
Lighting the Y, the annual event that BYU students always look forward to.
Never been more excited.
It's okay.
Hundreds of students came to Y Mountain to follow in the footsteps of those who came before and be a part of the history.
Tradition, coming up to the Y, seeing a new perspective on the university.
It's fun to get away from campus, even if it's not that far.
The hike was the last event on the opening day of Homecoming Week, a week dedicated to celebrating BYU alumni and what it means to be a Cougar.
The white Y, the symbol for Brigham Young University, stands at 380 feet tall and 180 feet wide, and is said to be one of the largest collegiate symbols in the United States, a symbol that those who come and go through BYU will not forget.
BYU alumni and now president of BYU, Kevin Wortham, was there to represent his alma mater.
Well, I think representing not only the university but the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints makes this a special place, so that every accomplishment we have can redound to the benefit of our Heavenly Father and help Him advance His kingdom here on earth.
But he wasn't the only popular face around. Fan favourite Cosmo the Cougar delighted everyone with his usual playful antics. As the sun set, the students were more and more excited for this year's edition of Light the Y.
3, 2, 1.
The Y will remain lit all week, a way to remind those who have passed through BYU of where they came from and the memories they can take with them once they leave. Reporting for Newsline on Y Mountain, I'm Hayden Wallace.
And that's only the beginning of homecoming activities. I know that there's going to be 3 dances, a casual, semi-formal, and formal dance. So
boys, get your dates. You already know.
And we also are preparing for a big parade on Saturday morning before the game.
Absolutely. And during the game, we will not be seeing senior linebacker Zane Anderson, who is out for the season. However, will this be his last year suiting up for the Cougs? Also, Jimmer puts up a show in Houston. We'll tell you if he could be making a comeback to the NBA sooner than we think.
Hey Bobo, do trees tell each other stories?
I'm sorry, I'm afraid I don't know that.
Hey, why don't we go find out? Listen.
Can birds draw pictures?
I don't have an answer for that.
Dad, do stars visit their friends?
Look!
Todd's a great guy. I mean, look at him. What a sweetheart. Attaboy. Wait, Todd, what are you doing? How totally selfish and un-Todd-like of you. Come on, Todd. Come on, man.
Why don't you ever see elephants hiding in trees? Because they're really good at it. Yeah, I get it. Testing. Why did the girl ask the mushroom to dance? Because he was a fun guy.
BYU senior linebacker Zane Anderson is out for the rest of the season. He will be having surgery on an unspecified injury next week. Head coach Kalani Sitake announced the news on his show last night on BYU TV. The senior linebacker was a key piece in the Cougars' early season success. This is not all bad news, however. Anderson has only played 4 games this season, meaning he is still eligible to redshirt this year and return for his super senior season next year. Utah Jazz teammates Donovan Mitchell and Epke Udoh continue to give back to the state of Utah.
To be honest, I love it here. You know, y'all don't understand. I come from New York where, you know, it's busy, it's populated, it's noisy, it's loud. You know, to be here where it's quiet, you know, peaceful, laid back is something that I didn't know I needed until I got here.
Mitchell and Udoh made a surprise visit to West High School in Salt Lake City Tuesday afternoon to talk about basketball and a lot more. Questions were sent through the Jazz social media. The teammates mentioned things like the importance of face-to-face conversation and reading. Udoh even mentioned his book club. Mitchell was also asked if he would attend some of their games this season, and Mitchell said he would try to fit it into his schedule. As for the Jazz, they kick off the regular season in just 1 week against the Sacramento Kings. Former BYU legend Jimmer Fredette went up against James Harden in the Houston Rockets in a preseason game Tuesday night. The former National Player of the Year matched up against MVP James Harden, scoring 41 points on 16 of 40 shooting from the field. Jimmer currently plays for the Shanghai Sharks and averaged 37 points per game last year. With this dominant play for a couple of years in Shanghai, there is always the question as to when Jimmer will return to the NBA. That is still up in the air, but following this performance, there might be a few teams interested. The Utah Royals and the National Women's Soccer League are denying a lawsuit filed against them back in August. This is pertaining to a trademark infringement against the Kansas City Royals filed back on August 29th of this year. There is also arguments stating that there is no evidence of confusion between the brands of the Kansas City Royals and the Utah Royals, and the name ties to the Real Salt Lake and Real Monarchs, their reserve team that plays in the United Soccer League. Both parties are required to hold a discovery conference by November 7th to discuss the nature and basis of their claims and defenses. That's all the sports updates for today. We'll be right back.
Truth is, I'm impressed. I haven't been asked such intelligent questions in a long time. Nice.
These are cool. Did you, what did you?
What?
The 2018 American Music Awards were held last night. Taylor Swift not only opened the American Music Awards, but she went on to dominate the show. The star won 4 trophies, including Artist of the Year, making her the ceremony's most decorated female ever. She now holds 23 AMAs, beating a record previously held by Whitney Houston. Camila Cabello also won 4 awards at the ceremony, including the Best New Artist of the Year. Rapper X, who was shot and killed in June, won a posthumous award in the Best Soul and R&B Album category. His mother accepted the award on his behalf.
That's Newsline for October 10, 2018.
Thanks for joining us and have a great day.